My name's Henry Bacon. I'm a recently turned professional boxer from Ipswich. I'm currently Ipswich's only professional fighter. I'm trained by Steve Spartacus, who was Ipswich's last professional fighter, so he's kind of handing over the torch. I come from a gypsy traveller background, so I've always really been into it kind of instilled into me to be a fighter. When I was 14 or 15, my mother and father separated, and I went to live with my father because that was seen as the best thing to do. I could learn about work and continue with my boxing. But around about the same time as when I kind of got serious about boxing. So it was a bit awkward having my dad as my trainer, because not only would I have to train with him, I'd have to go home with him, and it was harder on me than any other person in the gym. I just wanted to be treated like everybody else, but I suppose he was pushing me. He only wanted the best out of me, I suppose. I suppose he wanted to push me so I could go places where he couldn't as a boxer. But it was sometimes hard, and it put a great strain in our relationship as I was growing up. Me and my dad really didn't like each other, and I was never allowed days off the gym, and I'd have to train when I was ill. But it put a great strain on our relationship. It's only just starting to recover as I've got older and become a father myself. I think the public's view on gypsy stereotypes is a little bit misguided. You kind of only hear about the bad side in the media, and because gypsies are kind of a private people, I'd say, they don't really get a chance to mix as such with the outside world, so you don't really get to see the good sides of them. It's a shame with programs such as My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding. It would be a good platform to show both sides, the good and the bad. They seem to only prey on the people who live up to the stereotypes. It makes me really angry sometimes. Obviously there's good and bad in all communities, and I'm not saying we're all perfect, but I think we kind of get a bad rap in the media. I actually met Steve at a boxing show. He was like a guest of honour, because obviously he was Ipswich's last pro, and it was at Ipswich. And he handed me the trophy. I actually lost that night. Didn't box very well at all, but I think he must have saw a little spark in me, because afterwards he came up and introduced himself and asked if I'd like to train with him. At that point I didn't know it was going to lead on to turning pro. I just thought I'd kind of sharpen my skills as an amateur, use his experience. But I've learned so much from him, and this kind of natural progression I've turned into a professional.
I think Henry's one of the people who needs to be pushed all the time, and it's a good situation. His dad said that. His dad has been on him all his life, making him want to box and that, but Henry's one of the type of people you have got to keep on to all the time, and it's good where he is, because he's not far from the gym. I only live down the road, so that's where we work at. He don't get a rest, and he needs to do that because he's not naturally gifted athletically the same as me, so you had to work hard at everything, so you've really got to knuckle down and work hard. Some of these other kids, like our Cuban kid, he can get away with training a lot less than we do, and he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And when I was training, I went away with lots of people like in athletics, shot putters, discus throwers, who were at a high level of athletics. So I learned a lot about the way they train, and that was so much more advanced to boxing. And now boxing's slowly catching up. Now with the lottery funding, and they're all away in camp, and they've got the best nutritionists and sports scientists, and now boxers are trying to use the same sort of things as some of these other sports have done for years. But you can't get away from the fact you're going to get punched in the head. So no matter what sports science you've got and what you're eating with and different things like that, you're going to have to. It's a hard game. So you have to be fit, you have to be strong, and you have to be tough. And whatever happens, you have to make weight. So you have to run, you have to lift weights, you have to spar, and you have to do pads.
With regards to my family, I hope that they're kind of proud that I'm a boxer, because they have to put up a lot of sacrifice and hardship, because I spend a lot of hours training. I'm not there a lot, and I can't go out for meals or social events with them as much as I'd like. So, but hopefully in the future they'll reap the benefits.
Henry was the firstborn grandchild, and I named him Henry after my dad's brother, because my dad had a little brother who had died called Henry, and he was named after him. He said, well, so over the moon with him. So Dad was so protective. He didn't want him to go to school in case he got bullied. They stopped speaking to me when I sent him to school. They just wanted him, and now he's got to learn to do this and do that with us, the traveller's way. I said, but he can learn that as well, and he can also learn, my father was just like a father to him. And when he got old enough and he started sort of boxing, his dad took a lot more interest in him. I mean, his dad was very strict, but I've got to say, it kept Henry on the straight and narrow. He never ever went off. He'd never be one of these boys driving fast, loud music, or drugs or anything, or drinking or anything like that. So that was the good point about the boxing.
I'd rather my boys do boxing than football. Because it's a controlled sport, there's no nastiness, do you know what I mean? In football, it's like people, they do crap things like headbutt and things like that. I don't like that, in boxing, it's controlled. If they do something wrong, they get told, but...
Yeah, you've got to get literally in the ring, have a fight with somebody, then they shake hands afterwards.
Yeah. I do. I've keep saying to him, when can he start? Because he's 4. He's 5 this year. I keep saying, I want to get him in as soon as I can, and then leaves when he grows up, you don't know what your children can turn out like, do you? They can turn to drugs. But I know from the same as Henry, obviously he wouldn't, because you can't, when you're a boxer, you can't do things like that, go out drinking and things like that. So.
I'd like both my kids to start boxing as a character builder and to give them discipline, teach them right from wrong. It really it's like a big family, and they'll learn to look after themselves and learn to respect their body, and won't fall into the wrong crowds when they're older. Like Rio is only 4, so he's not quite old enough to be in there yet. But I think he wants to become a boxer. Whereas our youngest he's only 3, little Henry. He done it. Even if they're footballers, I do not care. As long as they're happy, I won't push them and give them the same, mental torture that my dad did of me, kind of thing, and push him into it. The emotional blackmail, I think, is a good word to use for it, because that's kind of what. Although my dad probably didn't know he was doing it, he did. He did do it. So I'll be very supportive of my boys, regardless of what they do.